Hi, my name is Devin Miller, and today I'm going to be explaining to you the science of pole vaulting and sort of how pole vaulting works as a sport. So first I'm going to show you this diagram that was obtained from the Physics of Pole Vaulting Wikipedia. So here it shows the progression of a vault. So it starts off with an athlete running down the runway, gaining speed, and then planting the pole in the box right here. So then once they plant the pole in the box, it'll bend, and then they use that in order to launch them up in the air. So then the goal is to basically make it over this horizontal bar without knocking it down. So the bar keeps moving up and up as you clear heights. So of course what you're trying to do is maximize the height you get from the ball. So now that you have sort of a better understanding of what pole vaulting is as a sport, I'm going to go into actually the science of pole vaulting. So you start off with the athlete standing at the back of the runway, and before you even start running or anything, you have basically chemical energy from food that you've eaten previously in the day that is transferred or converted into kinetic energy when you start running. So basically kinetic energy is just the energy of motion. So any kind of motion, whether it's running, riding a bike, throwing a baseball, all of that is going to be considered kinetic energy because you're moving. So you have kinetic energy all along here on the runway, and you can think about it as sort of like a train picking up speed coming out of the station. Because what eventually you're going to do is you're going to put all that kinetic energy into the pole, which is going to become potential energy. So how the pole works, it sort of works like a rubber band. When you stretch a rubber band out, all the rubber band wants to do is recoil back and go to its initial form. That's the same as a pole. So when you actually bend a pole, all it wants to do is recoil back into its vertical shape. So when you get all of that kinetic energy, you transfer it into potential energy when you bend the pole, which is then going to be used as kinetic energy to launch you up in the air. So again, just to focus on this potential energy, it's considered potential energy because you're not actually moving, basically it just has the potential to do movement. And that's kind of what we see here. It has the potential to do movement, and it eventually does become kinetic energy and launches you up in the air. So in summary, you start off with chemical energy from the food that you've eaten, which is then converted into kinetic energy as you run down the runway. Once you plant the pole in the box and start bending it, that kinetic energy becomes potential energy, which is then converted back to kinetic energy to launch you up in the air and over the bar.